Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, in the previous topic we have discussed about the salient features of the CFT, that is crystal field theory, and now here we are going to talk about the limitations as well as we are going to talk about the superiority of the CFT, that is crystal field theory. So what are those? Let me talk about in this topic. So friends, in this topic I'm going to talk about the superiority as well as limitations of crystal field theory. So starting with the first one, that is superiority of CFT. So talking about the first point, that is the magnetic properties of the complex and variations with temperature are explained by the CFT, that is crystal field theory. We understand that is a magnetic property of a particular complex is because of its unpaired electrons, and that could be explained by the CFT. And the variations with the temperature towards the magnetic property, even that could be explained with the help of CFT. So that is nothing but the superiority of the CFT. And now let me explain you the second point, that is the CFT gives a measure of stability of complex, because we understand that is crystal field theory. It gives a detail about the splitting of the d orbitals, and the splitting of the d orbitals, it will be dependent on the geometry, it will be dependent on the ligand, and based on that we could analyze what is the energy difference between the lower energy level and the upper energy level, and that is how basically we can get to know whether the complex is stable or not, and suppose if it is stable, to how much extent it is very much stable. So even that detail, it could be evaluated from the crystal field theory. And now let me talk about the next point. So talking about the next point, that is CFT predicts geometry of the complex. We understand that is the crystal field theory, it can give the geometry of the complex, but here basically we can predict the geometry of the complex. But in case of VBT, even though that is what we have discussed in the limitations of the VBT, we have got to know that is we can't predict the geometry of a 4 coordinated number complex, and it could be that is tetrahedral also, it could be square planar also. So that was not been predicted through the VBT, but in case of CFT we can predict the geometry of the complex. So talking about the next point, that is kinetic and thermodynamic properties of some complex are explained by the CFT. We understand that is because of the energy difference and because of the data, that is what we could get about the energy level, we could explain whether the compound or whether the complex is stable or not, that also kinetically or thermodynamically. So therefore this two properties, depending on the stability, it can be explained by the CFT, that is crystal field theory. So talking about the next point, that is CFT explains the DD transition and color of the complex. Obviously we understood that is obviously there is an energy gap between the two d orbitals, and now this region is such a region that can absorb a particular wavelength from the sunlight or particular wavelength from the visible region, and that is how basically the electrons can be accelerated from the lower energy level to the higher energy level, and they can come back from the higher energy level to the lower energy level, and depending upon the energy difference. So this could be explained with the help of CFT. So therefore this were nothing but few superiority of the crystal field theory. And now let me talk about the limitations of CFT. So talking about the limitation, that is the first one, that is in CFT only d orbitals of the central metal are considered. But in case of VBT we have also considered the d orbitals of the central metal. We have also considered about the s as well as p empty orbital of the metal. But in case of that is CFT, we are only considering about the d orbital of the central metal. So that is a limitation of CFT. Talking about the next point, that is the pi bonding is not accounted for the complexes in case of CFT. Talking about the next one, that is there is no explanation for the fact that H2O is stronger ligand than OH minus. So therefore these are the three limitations of the CFT. That is what I have to discuss in this point, and that's it. So thank you friends for watching this video. I hope you have got the superiority as well as the limitations of the CFT points related to this topic, and I hope I'll see you next time. Till then, don't forget to subscribe Ekeeda channel. Thank you so much.